about someone.
Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to you all. I hope you guys are doing very wonderful today on Jummah and you're ready to kickstart your show with me, Maha Mukhtoom, and the wonderful Shahzad Khan. Shahzad, how are you?
I'm absolutely perfect. Assalamu alaikum, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in, and it makes me very happy, exuberant, and excited about the fact that it is Friday today. Well, I wasn't supposed to say this, but then I thought that, okay, let's go with the flow as well.
Exactly.
How are you?
I'm very good. I'm actually, as much as I love, it makes me happy to come to the show, to speak to you guys, to share information.
Yeah.
However, this week seems to be one of the longest weeks of my life. It's just because, when you have so much work, you have deadlines, when you have pressures about perfecting things, it takes its toll on you. Then you have your own social life and your own personal life.
Okay, but Maha,
Yes.
I always had a question in my head and I wanted to ask you.
Oh, gosh.
Did you ever identify yourself or did you ever explore within your own self?
In what respect?
I mean, for example, there are people who write, there are people who sing,
Oh, yes.
there are people who host shows.
Yeah.
And it is because they have identified their strengths and weaknesses as well. So how do you identify yourself?
Okay, well,
As a
actually,
good friend?
I try
As
to be.
moral supporter?
I try to be,
Okay.
but that's one thing. However, I do try to explore different avenues of creativity. And, for some people, it's a career. For some people, it's a passion. And I try to write, actually.
Yeah.
I've tried my hand at poetry. And also when I get frustrated, I try to write. But the thing is, for me, writing is very cathartic. It's very, it brings me peace. But I also like to write to people, which I don't always think works.
And that's why art reflects society as well. And within this subcontinent, I think we've inherited quite a lot of culturistic or artistic background as well. And then, ladies and gentlemen, it is very important for all of us to highlight what the young kids are doing. And a lot of time, there have been people, I was actually laughing about it the other day as well, that when they sit on the couch, they say young youth. So for all of those people who use this word, please stop using it.
Because youth means young.
Means young, please.
Exactly.
Don't do that.
And also, the one thing about, today we are exploring writing and storytelling because it is, people who do that, they're very creative, they have a different view, and they're also recording history, the society in that moment for future generations.
Yeah.
So later on when, our grandkids, our great-great-grandkids read our stories from our time, the novels, the books, the short stories, the poetry, they'll get an idea of what kind of society this was, what kind of people we were, what kind of thoughts did we have, what were the struggles. So it's very important to support this and encourage it.
And which one was the last book, Maha, you read? Because I read Me Before You and 40 Rules of Love.
Oh,
and
it's cute.
I thought that, there was a bit of racism in it as well, because 40 Rules of Love is like just against men. And all those men who really do not behave
I think that's
well.
another book.
And all those men, yes, it is. All those men who really do not behave around women, I think they should read it.
Oh, wait. 40 Rules of Love, the Rumi and Shams Tabrizi is about men?
Yes.
No, I think
Quite a lot of figures and facts given about men.
Okay.
And then, I didn't feel quite happy about it.
Okay, fair enough. I think I may have missed that part in the book. No, I'm actually reading Fates and Furies. It's actually a very interesting book about relationships and life and how to balance it. But anyway, we're going to introduce you to our guest because I think we've done enough introduction and we have a lot to discuss. And we've been joined by some wonderful people in the studios, and I'm going to get all their profiles out because there's a lot to say. So we have been joined by Farhan Kiani. He is the author of Kiva, The Hidden Kingdom, which was launched on Amazon in 2013. His second book, which is being released next month, is called 5 Wishes and the Prophecy of the Prince. And we will find out more about his life, his career, and everything when we start the discussion. Assalamu alaikum, good morning.
Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Besides Farhan, we've been joined by Iram Zara. She's an author, a blogger, a speaker, and she has published 6 poetry books in the US. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
And your profile is huge, so we have a lot to discuss because she also supports writers, she encourages them, she has collaborated
She's
with
got
them.
a publishing house as well.
Exactly, so
That's
the list
great.
goes on. Besides Iram, we have been joined by Arij Fatimi. She is a motivational speaker and she is a writer. She is the author of Tales of Crucified Blunt. Assalamu alaikum, welcome back. How are
Thank
you?
you so much.
And she loves to stay serious.
Yes,
as
and
well.
we're going to wake her up today. Besides Arij, we've been joined by Suman Wasim. She is a student and a writer, and she is the author of Eliminating Riba, A Way Forward, which is on economics. So it's very interesting. Assalamu alaikum, good morning.
Assalamu alaikum. Good
Thank you so
morning.
much for joining us.
And she's studying in the university where I used to study, so that makes me feel proud as well. And the other day we've had kids who were making robots.
From
and
your
they
university.
were mechanical engineers, and they were from my university as well. And the name of my university is Air University.
Okay, are they?
I just want them to feel proud
You're
of
the
me myself
ambassador,
as
eh?
well.
Good, excellent. Okay, so let's get the conversation started. We're going to start with you, Farhan. So tell us, because it's very interesting, your story, because you're not just an author, you're also a lawyer, which is a very intense job. Now, what is going on? How did you become a writer?
Well, half of my days spent being a lawyer, obviously. But, you know, I always had a passion for writing. I always have had a passion for writing for myself.
Okay.
So, actually, you don't need an office to write. You just need a spare time. You just need an hour or two at night, you know, when you're feeling the feel to write something.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess that's enough, and I never wanted to abandon writing. I remember I wrote my first book when I was in 3rd grade. So I mean,
You wrote
it
an
wasn't
entire book when
no,
you were
it
in
wasn't
3rd?
actually a book. It was a story. I mean, what a kid would. I illustrated it. I wrote it, and I actually, you know, stapled the pages to convince myself that it was a book.
Okay.
So I mean, the writing was always in me. I was later on. I was very much inspired by J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings and you know, Narnia and Harry Potter and all that. So I thought Pakistan is lacking its own fantasy story. You know, we have to have something of our own to tell.
Absolutely.
That we have something of our own. So I wanted something different. And everything I try, the fantasy books and all that, I try something different that's not been attempted before.
Okay, now the Hidden Kingdom, Kiva, the Hidden Kingdom. Now you want to write fantasy, so you took inspiration from Tolkien and all Lord of the Rings and you know all these stories. Where did you get the inspiration for actually creating this title, the characters? Was it solely you wanted to recreate something like that, or you wanted to bring something new and fresh from this continent?
It was a mixture of both actually, because firstly I loved imagining. I love to imagine things, and putting that imagination on the paper and making the audience read my imagination it was my wish. I always wanted that.
Wonderful.
Okay, so then, but then moving on with that as well, what are your ambitions with your writing career as well? Or do
I
you
want
think that
to-
this passion is going to convert into a career?
I want to go as high as I can,
So,
possibly.
so what is the limit which you have in your own head?
I actually want to go as far as Hollywood,
Okay.
because I'm just saying it's a wish right now. But obviously, when we try, we keep banging our head with the wall, and finally we go through the wall.
And you're going to stick to the genre you've picked?
For now, because that's my expertise. That's my fantasy is something that I love doing. So, like the second book.
Yeah, well, we're going to come to the second book. We don't want to jump to the second book because that's it's the whole story within
All
itself.
of it cannot be done all
Yeah.
that quickly. But Ira, moving on to you. So when did you start? 6th grade, I think.
Yes, 6th grade and still writing.
Still
Excellent.
writing. And that's it.
You're on your seventh?
No.
Seventh book now, right?
Yes,
Seventh.
7th book, inshallah.
Okay. We're going to ask about that later, but now tell us, how did you get into it? Because you're not just a author of 6 poetry books. You're also a blogger. You're a publisher. You support other writers internationally and at home. So how did
And
you
you
get
have
into
collaborated as well.
Exactly.
Yes,
So
I
how
have.
did you get into this whole scene? Tell us.
Well, first off, I would like to start with thanking you for inviting me and everyone here on this
That's not a problem.
amazing show. And it started off when I had problems accessing different publishers for my own books.
Okay.
I started accessing different, I contacted them for my book and told them that this is Pakistan's first free verse Gothic poetry book, and would you want to publish a book like that? And what their response was, we do not give time, or we cannot waste our time and money on new writers which no one knows about.
Okay.
So unless you
And they literally
are-
said that.
They literally said that. I have that on an email.
Okay. Okay, great. No, okay, so we've jumped the gun here because we will talk about the situation
Yeah.
of the publishers and the publishing house and the hurdles for the authors. But I want to know about you first. I want to know, how did you get into writing? Like Farhan was in 3rd grade. He wrote
Yeah.
his first book. When did you start writing?
I first
Tell us about you. We want
Yeah.
to know Iram.
Who is Iram?
Who is Iram?
and
Okay,
the
well,
books you've written.
Iram is a girl who started writing about food actually in grade 1. About there was a speech in my college. I would like to. That college made me who I am. As you are proud of your university, I am proud of ICG.
Okay.
And they had this speech competition about my lunchbox, and about food I wrote the first thing.
Excellent.
So since first grade I started writing, and then I moved on to a little bit of like serious writing when I was in 6th grade. I started writing for my own debates, and then for all the essay competitions and the story writing competitions in the college, and then for the inter-college competitions, and then the magazine. When I got into college, I was the magazine editor and the proofreader, and you know, one of the contributors of the magazine.
Wow.
So I really got into it, and also because my mother is an excellent Urdu poet, and she writes travel biographies. So I wanted to write as good in Urdu as hers, but one cannot compete with their parents. So I started getting into poetry. Actually, the first poem that I wrote was when I was in grade 8.
Do you still remember it?
It was
Few.
terrible.
No, just
actually, I
the
have
start
it. I
of it.
still have it in my. I included it in my book because
Great.
it was one of the defining moments.
Okay,
of my
but tell
life.
us about all of your books as well, you know.
Yeah.
The
So
ones that you've done so far.
yeah, the first book, Psychotic, is a wordplay.
And we have it?
Yes, it's the first edition
So
cover.
we'll pass it.
Yes.
Thank you. So here we go, guys. This is Iram Zara's poetry book.
Yes.
How lovely does it look to have your name on a book?
It looks amazing, and the second cover is absolutely gorgeous. The second edition, this book is actually sold out.
Yeah.
And this has actually been gifted to someone, which has been taken back. Okay. Sorry, yes, tell us, yes. So,
Yeah, so-
what is it about? Why psychotic? You know,
Yes.
that's an interesting name.
Yeah, psychotic is a wordplay of 2 words, psycho and chaotic. So
Yeah.
I wanted to wander around the mind of a person living in a suppressed society, and finally breaking out and defining their limits, pushing them.
You should have interviewed one of our
making new
producers.
limits.
You know?
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
Defining everything, and
Yeah.
then telling all of those people who have psychological issues and depression and going through women abuse or child abuse, and to tell them that yes, there is something better. There's a silver lining at the end of this cloud, that all of these dark days are going to end.
This is very
So-
interesting,
There's a
but when
light
did
at
you
the
wrote it?
Yeah,
When did you wrote it? Which year?
2014.
So in 2014, because we have discussed these things on our shows as well, that there's a stigma attached to all of these issues, and people do not address to them
Yes.
the way they need to be addressed. So
So like
how
people-
come that you were so well prepared about this issue?
I went went through most
See,
of
there's
these
always a
things.
story behind it.
Yeah, you either take personal or you take
Yeah.
it from
Yeah.
what's around you. Okay,
Yes,
that's
so
wonderful.
I took all of the stories that were happening around me and that happened to me. So I put them all in. Instead of lashing out on people, I decided, why not do something that would make me happy? Why not make something, create something that is going to affect other lives as well? So
And this
I
is what Maha said.
completed it in a book.
Yeah.
And in 2014, this was Pakistan's only book which got into the semi-finals of Goodreads Best Poetry Book of 2015.
Excellent, because I take quotes from Goodread and it's excellent. So that's fantastic.
Thank
That's
you.
so good. You guys are taking it to another level, and it's so fantastic. So let's move on to Areej. Hello, are you?
Finally
are you with
a
us?
smile, wow.
Yay! Okay, so now tell us, because last time you were here, we discussed your last book, Tales of Crucified Blunt. But since then, you have been working on your new book. Now tell us what happened after you were here on the show last time with the book, and now what is happening in your
Because
life these
when you were here for the last time, I think you were blogging too.
Yes, exactly.
Now you're not.
Now you're not blogging.
Tell us
So
about
There's
everything.
been an evolution in Areej.
Yeah.
So tell us
Well,
what's
actually, when I first started writing my first book, I vowed to myself that I will not retain to that achievement that I've got. I will start exploring and challenging the genres next beyond. So my next book, it is totally different. It is a science genre, and I'm writing the first science biography
Yeah.
on Stephen Hawking.
Okay.
I'm writing that. So it will again make me the youngest one of Pakistan to write a science biography. And besides this, I'm doing motivational speaking. I have already given a session at TEDx, and in Air University also, I have delivered a session
Wow.
this year. And I'm moving on towards youth activism, and I'm also peace ambassador.
Great.
So things are moving on.
Going very
challenging
well.
the
Okay, now
limits.
you decided to write this science biography.
Exactly.
and you're going to be the first one in Pakistan. Now, do you do these things because no one's done them, or is this a passion that, okay, I'm really, admire this person, I want to know about their life, I want to know everything, so I'm going to write their biography?
Well-
How does one
Or just because they're
pick?
challenging?
Yeah.
No, I will go with the second one. Stephen Hawking has been an inspiration for me.
Okay.
Though I am a student of biology, but physics has always left me in awe. So I wanted that even if I'm taking biology as my career and as my studies, I will explore physics as well, and that will go with my
I
passion.
love how all you guys wearing like 3, 4, 5 different hats, and that's fantastic because that makes the writing even more well-rounded. Okay, now once you've done this, I mean, what are your next plans? What's going to be? When
I
is that
don't
going to be
know.
released? First of all,
I'm still working on it. It will
Okay.
take 3 to 4 months to get it completed, and then I will go for the publishing.
okay. So
Okay,
do
so
you,
what happened to the blogging aspect of you?
Well, actually, I didn't find it much challenging, and I didn't enjoy much.
But if
That's
you
why.
were making money out of it, then
No,
what
I
was
was
the
not
problem?
making money.
Oh, you weren't. So you
I
were
was
just
not
blogging
making
for
she was
free.
doing it for a
That's
cause.
a good thing,
for a cause.
You stop
Exactly.
wasting your time.
Okay, that's not.
No, just like that, because
Shazad.
bloggers these days, we have discussed it as a career as well.
You can make money out of blogging.
Yes, you can.
Apparently.
You
Well,
can-
I've started my
Yeah,
way
and
into
a lot of
journalism.
it.
I've recently got my column published in newspapers.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Wow. Okay, so
Don't
this
forget
is
to write about us now.
all positive things. We'll find you, Arij. No kidding. Now, so you've now also then ventured into journalism.
Exactly.
Now, as a writer, how does it feel from going to writing books to a biography to articles?
It feels amazing because you keep on moving forward. That's the main thing that matters. You are not becoming stagnant. You are moving
Yeah.
forward. You feel the challenges. You get to learn more things.
And which is the hardest one to do?
Nothing. I don't think.
No, but
If
then
you have
No,
a
but
passion
anyway.
in it, then it is nothing is difficult.
Okay. So which is the most challenging one to write?
Yeah.
The article, a book, or
poems,
I
poem?
guess book.
Book. Okay.
book.
Right.
But then, since you're in fact writing all of the books at the same time, how do you do justice to all of that?
Well, what I feel with writing is that you have to write when you feel like it's choking inside your throat. You feel like vomiting, only then you have to write it.
Oh.
So it's all balanced.
It's a real passion for you, isn't it?
Exactly.
No, that's really great. Because when I was reading yesterday, it's, they're talking about writers and what kind of personalities they have, but it's fascinating. I will talk about the social aspect in a bit. Now let's move on to you,
Suman.
Suman. Tell us about yourself, because you're still studying, you're still a student, but you've written a very heavy book.
I firstly want to thank you to PTV News, PTV World,
Yes.
because
We're one family, it's all right.
Exactly,
PTV
we're all
World
under one
because
umbrella.
this is the only channel which gave me opportunity to present myself and express my feelings.
That's like an award accepting
Yeah,
speech.
exactly. Now tell us, why did you write this book? Eliminating Riba.
From my school time, I was actually interested in business and banking. I didn't study medical engineering or fine arts, but I studied economics from my metric level, and now I'm doing BBA in Air
Relax,
University.
it's okay, don't worry.
Yeah, it's all
No one's
right, it's
testing
all
you.
right.
Chill, you're in our
Close your
living room.
diary. Close it.
Yeah,
please.
close your diary.
Yeah, say whatever comes to your mind.
Yeah, talk from your heart. Okay, so
So-
you decided after school, you went into economics and you decided to write about it.
Yes.
Okay.
Because business and banking is my actually passion. I want to explore the limits in banking and business field.
Okay.
So why Islamic banking?
Yeah, yeah.
Because we are born Muslim, we are living in Muslim world.
Okay.
So
Because you picked up on riba, so I think it is inculcated within Islamic banking
Yeah,
as
okay,
well.
so now eliminating riba, why do you think it was important to write a book on this and highlight this?
as a proud Pakistani, I think Quaid-e-Azam made Pakistan because he wants people to live according to the teaching of Islam. So why not we are working, we are making decisions according to Islam. So I wrote this book because I want to extinguish the loopholes of an economy. So not only in Pakistan, but I want to all Muslim world to eliminate riba from an economy.
All
Okay,
right.
excellent. That's fantastic.
great.
Okay, so now we talked about your books, your passion.
But then,
your,
Miss
your
Mahai,
inspiration.
before you move
Please,
on, would
okay.
you mind if I ask one more question from Suman? And that is,
Sure.
how was it accepted then by the people who live within the market?
the people who reviewed my book was actually firstly surprised that I am just 19 years and I wrote on such
And
legal
you understand
topic.
banking, wow.
On such legal topic, and then I defended, I not only wrote book and gave to Beyond Sanity Publishing to publish, but I wrote and defended my book that I wrote this book. Why? Because I want to change the economy. I want to work for Islam, Pakistan, and for this special topic.
Okay.
So people actually accepted this first.
And Pakistan is truly proud of all of you.
No,
as
that's
well.
wonderful. You guys are doing a really great job. Now, coming back to Farhan, your second book. Now let's talk about that, and then we'll talk about the hurdles and the situation
Yeah.
for authors.
And tell us about your main character as well.
Okay. Now the next book it's a sing-along fantasy, and it's an adventure. So you have music, adventure, fantasy, everything in one place.
And a superhero.
Do we? Five Wishes.
All right, so tell us about your
Okay,
main
it's called
character.
Five Wishes and the Prophecy of the Prince. Tell us about it. Sounds absolutely fascinating.
Well, like I said, we've been lacking our own
Imagination.
fantasy adventure
Yeah.
novel of Pakistan, you
Yeah.
can say. The characters are actually, since the word five, so you can relate five different characters to it. It's actually, first I'll talk about the sing-along fantasy adventure because it sounds, it sounds really big, and secondly, why I say, because it just comes out that way.
Okay.
I used to see these Hollywood musicals, and they used to deliver dialogues, and they start singing again, and they again deliver dialogues, and they start singing.
There was one movie I watched recently,
Which one?
which was on music as well.
Sweeney Todd and the Deeper Bobble of the Fleet Street.
Yeah, I think probably,
yeah.
but no.
Johnny
this-
Depp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the actual movie that inspired me.
Okay,
So
great.
I was like watching this movie, and there was this, everything was coming, and I thought, why can't I make a novel that obviously it won't have the music, but it will have the rhymes, and it's something different that has nothing that has never been attempted before.
Okay.
Not just in Pakistan, but all around the world. I still remember I was talking to Lionel Ross. He's a publisher and author in Manchester, and he was like, it's physically impossible if you blend these two things, because novel and poetry are actually two different things, and delivering dialogues in poetry and coming back, even if you try to merge these two, you're going to end up and I just told him that I'm going to do it anyways, because
But if psychology and chaos can be merged in, then what makes you think that both of these elements cannot be? So what name will you come up with?
I didn't think
Yeah.
The guy did.
The guy
Yeah.
did. So
Yeah, there's a lot of negativity out there,
Yeah.
isn't
yeah.
there?
So I actually started writing in that way. So you can say I modernized Shakespeare.
Okay, excellent. That's wonderful.
And we can name it Powell. Oh yeah.
Powell.
Yeah, poem and novel.
Powell.
Okay, Paul.
That's a good name.
Yeah, that is a good name.
You can hashtag it, start a trend.
Powell.
Okay, guys, on that note, we're going to go for a short break. And when you come back, we're going to continue our conversations with our young authors. Stay tuned.
Good morning, hashtag Powell.
In order to resolve the power crisis, the government has taken comprehensive and historic measures. Despite the fact that the government offers 3% subsidy to the power consumers, they are being offered inexpensive oil, because of which there has been marked reduction in the circular debt, and power production units are being offered 3 times additional fuel. Similarly, there has been an exceptional collection of outstanding bills from the power consumers as compared to last 1 decade. Similarly, there has been a record decrease in the line losses, which has added a record 61 billion rupees in the national exchequer. In addition, some 2/3% corrections of errors of transmission system have been made to ensure uninterrupted power supply. With better production management, efficiency of power generation units has been made to supply inexpensive power to the industrial units. With this step, power consumers have been offered reduction in the power tariff to the tune of Rs 2 to Rs 4.3 per unit. Priority is being given to gas-efficient power units to minimize its cost. With better financial policies for the power units which could not meet their completion in time are also being addressed, and for the first time, 16,890 megawatts additional power has been generated. As a result, 50% reduction in load shedding for domestic consumers has been achieved, and industrial sector has been exempted from load shedding. To promote exports, a record decrease of 3 rupees per unit for industrial sector has been made. The rate of power consumed for tube wells has been fixed at Rs 10.35 per unit. To overcome the power crisis, some 14 new power generating units have been installed on the sidelines of Pakistan-China economic corridor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for everybody who just tuned into PTY. You're watching World This Morning alongside Shahzad and Maha, and today we've got young writers over here and, you know, novelists and poets over here on the show, and we are in conversation with them. Well, if you missed the first segment, you obviously will have to tune in when the show is going to repeat, which is at 11 p.m. at night. But then moving on with Farhan, who was telling us about his second book, which is about to come out, which is about to be published.
So yeah, so you had, you said it's about fantasy, it's singing. You had publishers in England saying that no, you can't do it, and you've done it. So tell us more.
Well, like I said, in a movie, there you have crews, you have actors, you have directors, you have producers, and all those. It's a team. You know, it's a huge team. And when you see the credits, you know, names never end. So
Yeah.
it's a huge team that makes a movie. When you write a novel, you have only your own brain, your own pen or laptop. So you're just writing your own thing, you're just delivering your own thing, you just have to imagine every aspect of the story, you know, yourself. It's on you.
Yeah.
So when I started this, I had to cover a lot of areas, and I would cover a lot of characters. Basically, it's an 80,000 word novel.
Wow.
And it's just the first part of a series that I'm planning. It's just the first part. So when you write 80,000 words, I remember I've completed this in 2.5 years. So 2.5 years, there wasn't a night when I didn't open or I didn't change the word, and I didn't add or exclude or include. I had to do it every night. It was rather than like Arish said that, you know, it's a compulsion. You have to do it. You just can't resist it. It's not linked to money or anything like it. It's just you just compel yourself to do something that you have to do.
Wonderful.
So it's within you.
It's within me.
Okay, actually, and so now quickly, because we are, you know, running short of time, and there's still so much I want to cover in regards to the actual career and lifestyle of an author, of a novelist. So, Iram, tell us about what your latest work is, and then also tell us. Let's move the conversation forward now. What difficulties did you face in your latest book as well?
Well, after Psychotic, the second book that I'm working on is called Invictus, which translates to The Unconquered.
Okay.
And it surrounds all the topics that we're going through in our society these days. I'm going to make it a bit hopeful, but it's going to have a supernatural touch in it. It's going to have things which are not discussed in Pakistan openly, like all the social issues. We have drinking, we have child abuse, we have women abuse, we have literally so many things that are going wrong, and somebody needs to address them. So Invictus, The Unconquered, is going to surround all of these things.
Amazing.
And it's going to be a very exclusive thing in a way, because Invictus is going to include all the underrated artists and painters from across the globe.
Okay.
I've gotten so many submissions from so many artists in Pakistan that my email is literally filled up to its neck. And going through all of those art pieces, I wonder why are they not,
In the mainstream.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about this now. Arish, let's move on to you. As a writer, you've given up blogging because you were doing it for, out of passion, out of interest, as a challenge. Now you've moved on to writing, and you're also writing columns.
Exactly.
Now, do you see this as the only way of, making yourself financially secure? Is you're going to pursue writing, and that's where you're going to make your name and money and everything? Because parents are watching. Is it feasible? Is it easy? What is it like? Tell us.
Well, honestly speaking, I have not even gotten a single check. Iram is my publisher. Writing
Imran.
is not something.
It's not his job to give checks,
go
no?
ahead.
Writing is not something you can make money out of it. I personally think, because it's only Urdu writers in Pakistan who have yet made a name and are earning something or are getting financially stable. As far as English writing is concerned, I don't think there is enough money to make in there.
You
Not-
think there is or not?
No, I don't think
You
so.
don't.
So then I think one of the reasons for that may be that you're not in that market where English
Exactly.
book reading is at
There's
that
not so
extent.
much exposure to it, not
Yeah.
internationally also.
Okay.
Also, as I'm so much amazed that it amazing the Goodreads, but you need so much reviews, so many reviews. You need to get in contact with foreign publishers to get into that space.
So you don't want to do that?
Maybe and maybe not.
Okay. So you're still exploring.
Yeah.
right now.
Exactly.
Okay, you're still
So
in
she loves to
evolution.
challenge herself, so
Exactly.
probably
I like
next
that
coming
element
years
of
she'll do
surprise that the future gives me.
Okay.
When it
Okay.
becomes
Okay,
a
but then
problem.
at the same time, do you write like full time, 5 days a week or 2 days in a week?
No.
How do you
I
do
just
it?
have the last story that I wrote was a few months back, a proper story.
How long does it take to write a story?
15 minutes hardly, maximum
An
of
entire
15
story?
minutes or 30 minutes, because it is just coming down and you have to just pour it through your pen.
Oh wow.
So
Okay,
it's just
excellent.
as good as
Okay, now, Iram, because you mentioned that you are working with multiple authors, within Pakistan, you're trying to promote them, you're trying to make it more of a lucrative kind of
Yes.
lifestyle. What are the hurdles? Because, Ari just painted a very,
Yeah,
bleak
and she's
picture.
true.
So
Yeah.
tell us, what is the situation?
It's really hard because, again, as she said, getting access to all the Pakistani audience is very difficult. Pakistan has the sort of nature where you are, you have to spend money to get money.
Yeah.
So even for your own marketing, you have to first spend money. You have to access, for celebrity endorsements. You have to gain to advertisement companies, and you have to plan big book launches. And otherwise, you don't get sales that way.
Okay.
I sold over 2,000 copies of my book because I spent half of its earning to the marketing.
Okay.
So I got.
So you already
it's
had
not-
a business plan, but
Yeah.
then at the same time, I've seen quite a lot of authors collaborating with other
Yes.
authors to increase their sales as
Yes.
well. Have you tried that?
Yes, I have. For 4 books which were published in US were called Mirrored Voices, and again, I was the only Pakistani poet from Pakistan to be included in those, and it had from 15 to 20 authors. And then recently, I've been included in an anthology from India.
Okay.
So the whole purpose of their collaboration was number one, increase the sales, and number two, to gain more bigger audience.
Okay.
Because
More
if you collaborate, let's say I collaborated with somebody in India.
So you
that
have your
means-
own audience, they'll have their own audience.
That means
as
we
well.
can combine both of these audiences because we are authors from 2 different countries. So that is going to affect the sales. So that's how collaborations work.
That's a wonderful idea to actually raise the awareness of
Yeah.
the.
I think you can do that too. Do you
That's-
have any plans of collaborating?
I have actually the one in which Iram collaborated in India, but I actually wanted to do something more. Except for fiction, I wanted to go into science and journalism. That's why. I
Why
left
do
that.
you take on so many challenges? I mean,
Why not?
yeah.
What else is life?
Actually, life
proud
is a
of you, though.
challenge. Life is
Exactly.
a challenge to explore the genres. That's why.
Absolutely. Okay, now I'm going to move on to Farhan. Tell me, you're a lawyer by profession, which is not an easy profession. They work
Yeah.
like 14, 15.
And there's quite a lot of book reading in it as well.
You're constantly reading, and that is.
Trust me, you don't want to read that.
Yes. Okay. No, but tell us, how do you manage to do, law and give that your full commitment and, your clients the full dedication, and then pursue your passion and give your readers that full 100%? Because you're splitting yourself, right?
Well, actually, like I said, you don't need an office to be a novelist. You don't need
Yeah.
an office to become a writer. You just need some spare time. You just need an hour or two at night when you're done with reality and you want to shift to fantasy. So it's just like a reversal for me. I've been living past 4 or 5 years in reality and fantasy that way.
Okay.
But fantasy actually, people underestimate that a lot.
Okay.
Fantasy actually teaches us how to live in reality. Like every movie you've seen, for example, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I mean, it teaches every other movie that you see, Superman, Batman.
Well, it
I
taught
mean,
me
They all
how to
have-
jump off the shelves.
They all have
you know, they
That's
give a
it.
messages.
Yeah.
You know, they teach children, they teach younger generations, even older people. They teach Harry Potter. They teach everyone to get, you know, there's a lesson at the end.
yes.
So that is what I want to do. My ultimate goal, aim you can say Hollywood, but my ultimate goal is to teach people, to teach the young children
Yeah.
that you know you can do this, you can do that, you can become this. Like if I can
Within your own thought
introduce
process.
my own book a little bit.
Please.
It's actually a fight between the light and the darkness. You know, it's a fight between fairies and witches and all that stuff. So fairies and witches are something, these fairy tales never die.
Yeah.
You know, they've been in our world for ages and they're going to be still in future.
Yeah.
But they never die. So
But
this
then
is,
I've got a very apt question at this point of our conversation, and that is that what I have witnessed as an anchor person working for drama serials and other things as well, and that is that whenever, you know, for all those people whom we call masses, who watch television, who read these books, by the end of the day, they start to live in that fantasy.
exactly.
And then eventually, when it is never fulfilled, or they do not come across a feeling where they think that we have lived that moment, it is very disturbing for them. Yeah.
It's like it's like the Disney films.
Yeah.
Okay, they
Yeah.
destroyed my life.
Because all of those queens
My
who've been running
20s
away, and then, you know, they have to be back by
I'm going to relate a very realistic person,
Yes.
a very realistic person, Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
He said a person who doesn't have imagination, he has no wings.
Yeah.
I mean, a realistic person as he was,
He was a slave.
He did
Yeah.
what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
He did what he aimed to do.
But he
and
never
achieved
started
it.
flying, though.
He did.
He
You know,
did
for-
started flying.
For
like-
somebody,
Of course he did
No,
start flying.
obviously it's not that flying, but you know, for a
maybe not
kid,
literally.
for a kid like me who bought a Superman sweater probably, and you know, started jumping
that
on
is-
the
that
shelves,
is the
That
thing.
thinking
shows-
that I'll
Okay,
fly
wait,
one day.
I've got it. I've got it. That shows your intellect,
Yeah.
not the writers.
As a kid, right? As a
Because
kid.
I was Superman as a kid and I never tried to fly. Like I
No,
kind
but
of
I
knew.
used to jump off the shelves. I was like, one day, man, one day.
And my
And
brother.
It never
did.
happened.
Yeah. Aw.
But
But now you can send a plane and fly.
Yeah, but now I think I'm going
that
to
is the
get a
thing.
jetpack.
Fantasy teaches you, it inculcates you to live in reality.
Exactly.
So these fantasy things, these characters and these everything, whenever you see there's a moral character behind in the end. So you know, they're morally inclined
Okay.
towards giving a lesson.
Now, okay, so that's excellent. You know, having a message as well, that's very important. And I think every one of you is trying to show people that there is light after the dark. You know, everything's so bleak because the situation of the world is quite sad these days. You know, a lot of people are suffering. Now, as a writer, I'm going to ask you, Iram, this because each individual person has a different personality. There's
Yes.
different characters. As a writer, what kind of, like Farhan said, it's about taking the time out. You know, once you're done with everything, it's about committing. But what kind of personality does one need to have? Because a lot of the times, there's a lot of insecurity with writers, but they're bold enough to put something in writing. It's kind of a contradiction in itself. So it's very fascinating, your psychology. So what would you say about writers and their characters?
If I talk about myself, I think I tackle about at least 5 personalities of my own every day. See, because writing, as you can, you know, reflect on all of these things in life. When you are with your family, you are a different person. When you are with your co-workers, you are a different person. When you go out in social life, with one group of friends, you are this funny, jolly, happy guy.
Yeah.
And then in another group of friends, they are more intellectual, and you know, you have to be all serious and you have to talk about issues to stay in the conversation. So, as Farhan said, and then as Arish and then Suman, we all have different characters. We all have different aims in our life. So, when you say that you are a writer, it means that you have to represent each and every one of those phases somehow.
But then, is that why your creativity evolves, or there are different reasons to it?
No, there's always two ways that creativity evolves. Either you get inspiration from yourself,
Yeah.
from within you, either something breaks inside you, or either something builds up inside you.
Okay.
That's
So,
that's
and
that's
this
what
is something
happens.
which you get by traveling within your own self.
Yes, you have to travel within yourself, and you have to meet with different people. You
Yeah.
have to travel to different places. You have to explore the minds of people.
Yeah.
Okay, now, okay, that's wonderful, and that's really fascinating as to because you need to be explorative.
Yes.
I think I just made up a word. Now, anyway, moving on. Now, what is the one thing that you would say though to someone youngster, in their teens that are into writing but they're too scared because you have to have thick skin because there's a lot of critics out there.
Yes.
There's a lot of naysayers out there who don't believe in you.
Yeah.
So, what kind of strength should they try to channel or build?
Okay, when I will talk about someone actually, she wrote a book on finance. I studied economics when I was in college as well, and it was one of my favorite subjects. And honestly, every writer just needs to take everything that builds up inside of them,
Okay.
and instead of lashing out or turning it into something negative, even if it is negative, put it on paper.
Okay.
Put it in a form of art, put it in form of speaking, in writing, in music, in dance, anything.
That's
But
quite a good
my
advice.
message is,
Yeah.
you have to let it out. Every writer,
Let it go. Let it go.
Not let it go, let it out. Just
Yeah.
letting it out.
every writer needs to think that even if there is this one person in the entire world that is there to read their work,
Amazing.
that
very,
is how
very
they
quickly,
should
I
write.
need to move on to Suman now as well because you've quoted her twice. So, Suman, what was the hardest or the toughest part when you were writing this book which you brought?
Well, I don't think so. Something is hard for me while writing this book because I think when one has passion about something, one can spare time, one can bear a witness of having new body of ideas or new set of creativity because all four we are sitting here have something new with us. Apart from
All
this
six.
book.
Six,
all
yeah.
Yeah.
Apart from this book, I am also working on poetry book. Inshallah, after 2 months, it will also going to publish.
Best of luck to all of you.
Excellent.
For all
And-
of your ventures.
Okay, and also one thing, things are hard, even if you're passionate about it. You guys make it sound really easy, like, oh, it's
Yeah.
not hard, but it is a struggle.
It was never easy.
It's never easy, right?
It's never easy. You just have to convince yourself that whether it's easy, whether it's raining, whether it's sunshine, you have to move on.
Yeah, this
You
is
just have to
exactly-
keep pushing to yourself to the limit, and you're only going to know yourself
Once
how
you do
strong you are when you keep pushing yourself. To
Okay,
the
but
limit.
one last
want-
thing before we
I
wrap
was
it
going to say
up.
that was a wonderful point
Yeah.
to end
Yeah,
on.
last point for me.
Yeah, we'll come on to, we'll move on to that.
We
But
really need to
what role do you think social media is playing in marketing or
We didn't even touch
whatever
that.
you guys have been
Social
writing?
media is the bomb right now because social
you.
media is, I mean, 50, I'd say 80% of our youngsters, if they're not turning on the TV, they're on
Thank
Facebook,
God you
they're,
didn't
they're
say young youth.
socializing.
Okay.
I mean, they're socializing on social networks
Okay.
and all that. So that is a very strong element in
And quickly,
marketing.
within 30 seconds, Aram.
Yeah. Every social media person out there, they know that these books exist, and what they need is they need reviews, they need to read new books, and they have to bring new ideas. And all they have to think is, and all the new writers, they have to think that they are capable. Because last year somebody told me that I was not capable of doing anything because I was a woman. And yesterday I posted it on, like, literally on social media,
Okay.
that last year somebody told me that I am not capable, and today I'm sitting in the PTV National TV headquarters.
Wow.
So what does that have to say about me?
Absolutely, and you're
Alright,
reaching
yeah.
people internationally. So
Yes.
well done, congratulations, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much
It's
for
been an
having us.
absolute pleasure talking to you, and best of luck with your new publication.
To all of you and to all of those writers, authors, singers, poets, whoever is out there.
Yes.
Best of luck, guys.
Okay, exactly. And as I said in the introduction, when we have writers in the society, they are people who are keeping this time and era alive for future generations so that they can learn and take something from ourselves. So with that, you log on to our Facebook fan page.
Yeah, but I was about to say
Oh,
something,
no, I'm sorry.
and that was,
Say it.
and it was in continuity to what you just
Perfect.
said. And in the start, I also mentioned it, and by the end, I'm going to say it again. It's just how Maha mentioned it, and that is that art reflects our society. All of these people have created an image of our society, which is an image of better Pakistan and a softer Pakistan as well, which we call a softer image of Pakistan, and it is our responsibility to fulfill that. And you guys are doing a great job. Keep on doing it, and we'll always be here to support you guys. And with that, ladies and gentlemen,
Log on to our Facebook fan page.
which is with the name of World This Morning.
Twitter page.
World This Morning without a G.
Daily Motion and YouTube page.
World This Morning
and
once
the repeat
again,
is now on at
11 p.m.
11:05, Shazan.
All right, 5 past 11, ladies and
Unless you want to
gentlemen.
watch the news, which you
Yeah.
do, so that's at 11. So do have a wonderful day, have a wonderful weekend, and stay classy. 1, 2, 3.
Good morning.